Rudy Giuliani, fresh off of his COVID treatments, seems like he's perfectly okay because he is connected to the president of the United States and is very independently wealthy himself. He can get whatever treatments he wants, experimental or otherwise, as the rest of the country suffers through it. Is now speaking about USB ports. I don't have context into this, but I'm just going to go into it blind.
So Rudy Giuliani is speaking to a Georgia House subcommittee on that video from the Fulton County suitcases, and this is in the context of that.
Quite obviously, surreptitiously passing around USB ports as if they're vials of heroin or cocaine. I mean, it's obvious to anyone who's a criminal investigator or prosecutor, they are engaged in surreptitious illegal activity again that day. And that's a week ago, and they're still walking around Georgia lying.
Well, I just want to say that, I mean, he doesn't usually look great to begin with. But man, Giuliani with COVID looks like shit. I mean, he looks really bad. But second of all, you have to put this in context, guys. Trump once considered Rudy Giuliani to be his cybersecurity expert, so he clearly knows what he's talking about when it comes to these USB ports or whatever.
Yeah, right. Well, okay, many things. Passing around USB ports, all right, don't think they are able to be held in hand and pass. Two, I mean, are people passing around vials of heroin? I'm pretty sure you do pass around cocaine, but I don't know if heroin is the kind...
He means it like a drug deal, like so, like you're like under, like you're secretly doing it.
Right. So on my laptop here, I'm just passing around the ports, not the laptop itself, like because the port can be independent of the laptop apparently.
Yeah, how's that supposed to work?
Maybe he's got a dongle, guys. Come on, think like a cybersecurity expert.
Yeah, I know. He is really unceasing. It blows my mind that somebody who is clearly rich on his own, who had his own political career here in New York, who has had multiple wives, seems to just, live it up, even in his old age, still chooses to debase himself on behalf of the president when even his most fervent supporters like Bill Barr and, Ted Cruz is trying to weasel his way out of arguing this election fraud case in court as Trump corners him and forces him to do so. Like, why is Giuliani doing this in his free time? Oh, wait, then I remember $20,000 a day.
Yeah,
it'll be
$20,000 a day.
True love, but that's probably a better explanation.
It'll be fantastic when, like, 3 years from now, when everyone's off this whole Donald Trump. Well, they'll probably still push it, but I mean, 3 years from now, when obviously the legal case is far from over, Giuliani will still be out there arguing his case over Zoom interviews or something. I like to imagine he'll.
And it's just like anomaly hunting, right? Like whatever they're talking about any given day is just the newest thing that they can point to that looks nefarious and direct threats towards whatever. Like there's a woman in Idaho that got surrounded the other day, and it's like county commissioner level like people, and it's really depressing that like this does. It's like I think people forget how actually terrifying it probably is for a lot of people who are on the receiving end of this. Like they're just like civil servants, and maybe they're Republican because they're in red states. And there's basically an authoritarian program being run right now, and a huge chunk of the party is going along with it.
Well, they're trying to, but I don't think they're gonna have very much success.
No, but it's not. That's not the point. The point is that this is like a time of disciplining the troops for like future. Like this is you're weeding people out. People are progressing up the chain because of how well they're willing to, or what they're willing to do at this point.
Yeah.
And it also just sets up future situations where they're just going to put diehard MAGA people in these election official positions and scare off regular civil servants from participating in this. That's the next step.
Yeah.
Actually, Binder, I've wanted to know more about you. Said you worked, did volunteer election stuff, right? Is that what?
Right. Yeah. Back in college, I basically just volunteered to work the polls. I would show up at 5 a.m. and sit at one of the desks, and I would usually get put at a specific district, and basically someone comes in, goes to the main booth, they're told what district they're in, and they get sent to that desk, and that's where they sign their name in, and get their whatever. Like back when I was still doing it, we still had the machines with the little curtains. So you go in the machine and vote, and then come out, and that's pretty much it. And my job was to stay there and sign everybody in, make sure
no Republicans show up.
Right. Make sure no Republicans showed up. Also trick people by telling them their name wasn't in the books if it said Republican. So they had to fill out an affidavit ballot, which I would proceed to throw in the garbage when they turned around and left. But it's literally the job is you sign up. You maybe go for like an hour or two of training a week or two before. And by training, they just basically say that they run through the process with you. Everyone I worked with, by the way, was like a retiree or someone who just worked at home, was looking for extra money. No one who has any sort of nefarious connections to any group. These people couldn't have been like more like just there for the money or there to be like a civil servant, like they actually wanted to do a duty. None of them were like political really, or talking about any of the candidate. Well, you can't even, but they even like when I was just talking with them in like spare time, none of these people are there because they want to do anything to influence the election whatsoever. They just need some extra cash, looking for something to do, and just want to serve and help out where they can. Voting to some people is a sacred thing, and I totally get it. And that's it. And these people are being demonized now for basically just signing up to work a few days at a polling location. And it's just so ridiculous. Like these people who are attacking them have no idea how little these people are connected to the process. You can literally go on Craigslist in the months before an election and find the links to sign up, because that's where like some of the jobs are put. Like they just need as many people as possible to just sit at a desk and show people where to sign and check to make sure the signatures match. That's all it is, really.
So what's going to happen going forward then? Because we've seen a real split in the Republican Party between the Trump dead-enders, who are really mad at the Republicans for not stealing the election, which, as we've gone over, I'm sure they would have liked to, but they just didn't have enough to work with. And the way he went about it was super, super dumb, basically telling everyone what he was going to attempt to do before he did it, right? There's a split between those people and the mainstream of the Republican Party, which is like, we can only bend these institutions so much before they lose legitimacy and we lose our power. So what's going to happen going forward? Because there are the Trump people saying we won't vote for Republicans unless they do what we want. And that's hilarious to me.
I think
a lot rides on Georgia.
I actually think it's a lot less of a split too.
Me too, yeah.
I think there is a split between like the 90% of people who are Trump fanatics in the Republican Party. And that split is, we believe something happened, there's election fraud and we want it overturned. And there's the other side of that 90% that says, I wish something happened because then I would have a reason to say I want it overturned and not look insane, even though I do want it overturned. But in public, I need to say, Trump lost, unfortunately. And then you have on the other side of that 10% of people who are maybe like, I think these 90% are crazy, even though I like Trump and are Republican. But yeah, there is not much of a split, like just as much never Trumpers as there were in 2016. Well, that's how many people who don't want to overturn the election for Trump this time around.
Just another note on Josh Hawley. Josh Hawley is supportive of all the, especially the Missouri AG who signed on to this big case to try to overturn the results in the 4 states. Hawley said good work. But I think if they lose in Georgia, the Republicans lose in Georgia, then I think you'll start to see maybe a bit more of some attempt at discipline. But if they can win like this, then I think the split is just for public relations purposes.
Yeah, right. Fair enough. I'm curious what's going to happen because historically, they say that the Democrats discipline their base, right? And the Republicans get disciplined by their base. Is there anywhere where the party will not follow their most rabid and insane followers?
I actually think that changes now with Trump. I think it's now the Republican Party feeds their base. I don't think the Republican base needs to even discipline them anymore. With Trump now, the standard bearer, the face of the Republican Party, even with him out of office, he'll still be the face because then you also have Don Jr. and Eric and I've even seen, we have a clip of some evangelical pastor, I believe it is, talking about how this is all to set up for President Barron Trump. I mean,
Yeah, when I say sorry, I realize that was maybe bad phrasing when I say the Republican
That's
Party
how it used to be. That's how it used to be. So you're not wrong.
By their base, like that implies that they don't want to go as far as their farthest right followers, which they usually do.
Right. No, but it used to be like that. So you're not wrong. It's changed. And I think that with Trump now the face of the Trump party as it is, it's all about these conspiracy theories, and everyone's against them, and they're going to double down on it. There's no more. There's really no. I mean, like you just said about Josh Hawley. Here's someone who's even, trying to portray himself as some sort of man of the people and not one of these, rabid Trumpian. But here he is backing the guy in his state who wants to overturn the election results in other states in order to help Trump out.
The war between the states, folks.
Yeah. I mean, I would love for it to really hurt them, right? Like, and I look at like Josh Hawley saying he's going on Tucker Carlson, and it really pleases me to look in those replies and see all the people saying, "No, I'm done with faux news," is what they always write, and like go on OAN and maybe I'll watch, and I love that, but they win like that. I mean, in 2016, I thought they were going to lose because of this stuff, and I worry that it just gets them all to vote and pissed off. They might be pissed off, but it does turn them out, and I think that's horrifying.
Yeah.
Right. I mean the argument between like the split between the watchers of Fox News, Newsmax, and OAN, it's sort of like the debate. I mean, this is a fun debate, obviously, but it's sort of like the debate of which fast food place is better, McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's. I mean, sure, you could have your favorite, but they're all serving the same evil empire. I mean, it's the same thing with those three news outlets. Sure, there's one that probably feeds your tastes best, but at the end of the day, they're all supporting the same empire that is the Trump-led Republican Party.
Yeah, and we also have to remember that the Republican Party is a lot more ideologically unified in its project than the Democratic Party, I would say, right? Because the Democrats have to do this double dance where they're like, oh, yeah, we support workers. We hate white supremacy, blah, blah, blah. But also, at the end of the day, serve their corporate overlords when push comes to shove. Whereas the Republicans don't really have that conflict, right? They serve capital. They serve the bosses. They serve white supremacy. They serve patriarchy. They serve all of these things, and the people who vote for them have more money on average than the people who vote for Democrats, but there is like a small slice of working class people who also support the Republican Party because of this culture war garbage, but it's a much easier project, and because they've been tricked into thinking that they support their economic interests by voting for Republicans, but it's a much easier project, I would say, than what the Democrats are trying to do.